That night remains indelibly imprinted in my mind. Chloe, my twin sister, and I found ourselves home alone, our parents having stepped out for the evening. The house lay in stillness, punctuated only by the soft hum of the refrigerator and the gentle creak of the aged wooden floorboards beneath foot. Chloe and I had shared countless nights like this in the past, yet tonight, an unsettling feeling lingered in the air. We had acclimated to the void left by our parents, and those evenings transformed into our secluded realm. I was merely a few minutes older than Chloe, and despite our differing genders, we bore an uncanny resemblance to one another. As I reclined on the couch, my fingers danced across the screen of my phone, yet my thoughts drifted toward how much Chloe had grown lately. She lay sprawled out before me, her gaze flitting between the television and some distant contemplation. The atmosphere was dense, as if the very walls were constricting around me. The fridge emitted a more pronounced hum, while each creak of the floorboards sent a shiver down my spine. "Are you in the mood for a film?" Chloe inquired, shattering the stillness that enveloped them. Her dark eyes captured my gaze, and for an instant, I found myself at a loss for words. I nonchalantly shrugged, maintaining an air of composure. "Whatever you desire," Chloe said with a smirk, seizing the remote. She navigated the channels with an excruciating deliberation, pushing the limits of my patience. A smile crept onto my face as I observed her playful antics. "If you're taking that long, I suppose I'll have to choose a rom-com," I teased playfully. Chloe chuckled. "Not on my watch." Our exchange flowed effortlessly, reminiscent of two facets of a single entity. Yet, beneath the mirth, an undercurrent of tension lingered, reminiscent of a tempest gathering in the distance. Chloe chose a well-loved film, one we had watched countless times before. We surrendered to its soothing cadence, the screen illuminating gentle silhouettes upon the walls. Yet, my attention drifted away from the film. A strange tension hung between us, both familiar and unsettling. From the periphery of my vision, I noticed Chloe giving me a thoughtful glance, as if pondering something unsaid. It happened in an instant, nearly unnoticed, yet it coursed a tremor of realization through my being. Chloe, known for her candidness and unfiltered thoughts, found herself enveloped in a shroud of uncertainty this evening. It caught my attention in the subtle way she adjusted her stance, her fingers wandering along the couch's edge, as though gauging the atmosphere that lingered between us. "Hello there," I inquired, shattering the stillness. Chloe shook her head, a subtle smile gracing her lips, yet her eyes whispered of hidden truths. "Nothing," she replied, her words tumbling out in haste. I arched an eyebrow. "Deceiver." Chloe inclined her body, resting her elbows upon her knees. The soft illumination of the screen accentuated the defined contours of her visage, reflecting my own features in a striking manner. "Have you ever pondered the peculiarities of being a twin?" she inquired. "People often presume we share similarities, yet the truth is we are distinctly different. Familiar visage, familiar musings, yet somehow different." I nodded, her words awakening a profound resonance within me. Chloe and I had perpetually existed as a singular entity, often viewed as interchangeable in the eyes of many, yet she was undeniably correct. We had changed, irrevocably so. Chloe was the intrepid spirit, plunging boldly into the fray of existence while I lingered in the shadows, watching intently. In instances such as these, when her defenses slipped away, I glimpsed a subtle fragility that she seldom revealed. My thoughts intertwined, each one tugging me toward a different path. Was this a mere curiosity, a flicker of fear, or perhaps something more profound lurking beneath the surface? Chloe's gaze pierced through me, challenging me to confront the unspoken questions that lingered in the shadows of my mind. "It seems simpler for people to categorize us all in one group," I murmured softly. Chloe's eyes held mine, and I sensed the gravity of that connection in the air surrounding us. "Perhaps we ought to demonstrate a different perspective to them." Her unadorned words sent a flutter through my heart. Before I could utter a word, Chloe reclined, her relaxed demeanor masking the unease that coursed through me. I glanced at the screen once more, feigning interest, yet my thoughts were in a whirlwind. The minutes elongated, and the silence that enveloped us became increasingly dense, burdened with words left unsaid. Chloe shattered the stillness, her voice now a gentle whisper. Your silence speaks volumes this evening. What thoughts are swirling in that mind of yours? I deceived, caught in the web of my own feelings. Silence. Merely fatigued. Chloe refrained from pressing further. Yet her gaze delved into mine, as though she possessed the ability to unearth the thoughts I desperately sought to conceal. For a fleeting instant, I braced myself for Chloe to expose my deception, yet she chose to draw nearer instead. Her knee accidentally brushed against mine, making me chuckle awkwardly. I fought to keep my poise intact. Is it truly nothing? She inquired, her voice playful and teasing, yet laced with a hint of sharpness. I managed a smile, letting my shoulders rise in a casual shrug. Absolutely, of course. The atmosphere felt heavy with unspoken thoughts, a silent force neither of us dared to confront. Yet it was unmistakable, evident in the way her eyes held mine a moment longer and how the space around us felt filled with unspoken meaning. As the night deepened, the silence between us grew more comfortable. Chloe's laughter echoed through the room, yet beneath the surface, an unspoken tension lingered. In the stillness, I understood that this was no ordinary night. A change was unfolding between us, and retreat was no longer an option. Chloe's typical bravado had faded, giving way to an emotion I struggled to identify. Each instance our knees brushed against one another, or when her eyes held mine a moment longer, I felt it deeply. Have you ever wondered how different life would be if we weren't always seen as a pair? She inquired abruptly. My eyes widened in astonishment. Could you clarify what you mean? Chloe leaned back, a casual shrug escaping her shoulders. I'm uncertain. If only we weren't, perhaps everything would seem different. The question lingered, peculiar and weighty, suspended in the atmosphere, unvoiced yet palpable. It seems difficult to envision, I finally remarked. We've always been us, Chloe murmured, her gaze briefly meeting mine before flitting away. Forever. The term bore a significance I found difficult to unravel. Before I had the chance to linger on my thoughts, Chloe rose to her feet. Would you care for a drink? I am taking one. I nodded, observing her fade into the kitchen's embrace. My mind whirled as I endeavored to comprehend the peculiar change that had unfolded between us. Chloe had always been my counterpart, and tonight reminded me how deeply our bond ran. Upon her return, she offered me a glass of water. Our fingers briefly touched when she handed me the glass, and I laughed it off. Chloe shifted nearer, her presence reassuring as the night wore on. Why don't we talk deeply like we used to? She inquired, her tone soft and contemplative. A frown creased my brow. Could you clarify your meaning? We share a closeness, yet there are still topics we tend to sidestep, she remarked. I merely shrugged. Everyone harbors unspoken thoughts and secrets. Chloe faced me, her gaze piercing. However, we are not like everyone else, Nathan. We are united. Her words resonated deeply, causing my breath to falter. I suppose. I let my voice fade, uncertain. Chloe echoed. Do you suppose? A faint smile graced their lips. I cast a weary glance, attempting to divert the attention. What would you like me to express? Something real, she murmured gently. I found myself at a loss for words. I averted my eyes from Chloe's intense gaze, unable to bear its weight any longer. The silence lingered, an unyielding presence, until she finally shattered it. Have you ever considered viewing us from a different perspective? My heart raced with an unexpected thrill. I glanced at her, seeking a trace of understanding. Her expression remained a mystery, shrouded in ambiguity. I don't understand what you're saying, I replied, my voice trembling slightly. Chloe's voice carried a subtle strength, low yet resolute. Indeed you do. The atmosphere surrounding us crackled with energy. I wished to refute it, yet each gaze, each silence revealed an alternate narrative. What if I possess I inquired at last, my voice scarcely rising above a whisper. Chloe's eyes grew wide, and then a flicker of uncertainty crossed her face. Yet, her demeanor shifted, and she leaned closer, lowering her voice to a near whisper. Perhaps I am not alone in this. The words lingered in the atmosphere, stirring a torrent of emotions within me. Terror, anticipation, perplexity. Chloe's intensity lingered, allowing me the freedom to choose. I gulped, my heart pounding in my chest. There are certain questions that elude definitive answers, I mused. Perhaps that is what renders them utterly unmissable. Chloe's gaze remained fixed on me, steadfast and unyielding. Nathan, she murmured gently, you can confide in me. You have always possessed that ability. Her fragility sent a tremor through my being. I understood. I whispered. It's simply intricate. Complicated doesn't equate to bad, Chloe responded, reclining a bit. At times, it signifies that it's worth delving into. Her unwavering gaze sent my heart racing. I understand, I reiterated. She reached out and gave my shoulder a gentle squeeze. The rhythmic ticking of the clock anchored me firmly in the here and now. We should probably head to bed, I suggested, my voice tinged with uncertainty. Chloe seemed to concur, yet remained still, not allowing me to break free from the quiet. With a sense of hesitation, we extricated ourselves from the embrace of the couch. Silence enveloped the house as we ascended the staircase. At the threshold of my bedroom, I paused, uncertainty gripping me. Chloe halted just behind me, her proximity stirring old memories rather than new confusion. Are you all right? She inquired, her tone gentle. I nodded, offering a faint smile. I'm just thinking too much again. I truly wish for this moment to linger on, I added softly. Chloe's hand clasped mine, her hold familiar and grounding. It doesn't have to end, she replied simply, her words holding the same warmth I'd known all our lives. I swung the door open, stepping into my room with Chloe trailing closely behind me. The space felt smaller than usual, but not because of discomfort. It was the weight of everything left unspoken. I paused, my thoughts swirling, yet Chloe's serene presence calmed the chaos within me. Come on, she said with a small laugh, patting the edge of the bed like we had done as kids during thunderstorms. It's just us. Her words resonated deeply, and something loosened in my chest. This wasn't strange, it was Chloe, my sister, my mirror, my constant. I sat beside her. Chloe shifted onto her side, resting on one elbow, her eyes locking onto mine. The moonlight streamed across the room, draping soft shadows over her familiar features. You're overthinking again, she said with a knowing smile. Is it fair to hold that against me? I murmured. Chloe reached out and nudged my shoulder lightly, as she often did when she knew I was spiraling. You worry too much. I let out a slow breath, letting the quiet settle. Chloe lay back, pulling the blanket up to her chest. Let's just sleep. No more questions tonight. Deal, I said, lying down beside her, distant enough to be respectful, close enough to feel safe. As I turned off the lamp, darkness wrapped around us like a blanket. The night passed slowly. At one point, I woke to find the moonlight shifted, casting soft blue light across the room. Chloe was sound asleep, her breathing calm and steady. For a moment, I stared at the ceiling, letting my thoughts drift, not toward forbidden feelings, but toward the strange comfort of that night. A night of honesty, of complicated thoughts, but also of deep, rooted trust between siblings. The morning light crept through the curtains, casting a golden hue across the floorboards. I awoke slowly, sensing Chloe's presence beside me, just like when we were younger and afraid of storms. Though the haze of sleep clung to my mind, clarity returned with the sun. I turned to see her still resting peacefully, her brow relaxed, her expression soft. I sat up, careful not to disturb her. The weight of the previous night sat gently on my chest, not heavy, but present. Chloe stirred moments later, blinking against the sunlight. Morning, she mumbled. Morning, I echoed. We sat in silence for a bit before I spoke. Do you think last night changed anything? Chloe yawned, then shook her head. I think it reminded us of something. That we still know each other. That we're still close. Her voice was quiet but sure. Relief flooded me. The day unfolded slowly. We ate breakfast. We talked about random things. At one point, she laughed so hard at something I said that orange juice sprayed out of her nose, and it was the most normal we had felt in months. Only in the afternoon did we remember. Our parents would return soon. They'll be home in a few hours, I remarked, glancing at the clock. Chloe nodded, her smile fading slightly. I know. I sat beside her on the couch again. The television hummed in the background, but neither of us was paying attention. Are you all right? I asked gently. Chloe didn't reply right away. Then she finally met my gaze. Do you feel like something was wrong about last night? I hesitated. No. Just complicated. She nodded. Not everything has to be figured out right away, she said. And not everything that's confusing is bad. I smiled, this time genuinely. We're okay, right? More than okay, she replied, giving my hand a quick squeeze. And next time we get stuck in our heads, we talk. That's the rule now. Deal. And with that, we sat side by side as the afternoon sun warmed the room. Not as confused souls, not as something more, not as something forbidden, but simply as two siblings, growing up, figuring out life, one step at a time.